Welcome back. In the first few years of Crimewatch, cases such as robberies and murders were commonly featured. In a fast-moving world where crime changes with time, Crimewatch keeps abreast the latest developments in law enforcement.
Crimes featured on Crimewatch are often typical of the times. In the early episodes, armed robberies, including armed goldsmith shop robberies, were widely covered.
Cisco guard Karamjit Singh was shot in the thigh. 2 other people were injured. In the exchange of fire, 15 shots were fired. Only 4 were by the Cisco guard. Despite his injury, Kamrajit Singh shot Lee Kok Chin in the chest.
But with stepped-up enforcement and tightening of laws against arms, these crimes became less prevalent.
Lee and Ng got away with nothing.
In their place came other offences such as drug trafficking, fraud, sex crimes, and with the arrival of the internet, cyber crimes. The story of Anwar Ali and Siti Amina was the first drug offence case to be featured on Crimewatch. Both were subsequently charged for drug trafficking and were given the death sentence. But on appeal, Siti was granted clemency. An interview with Siti showed her expressing remorse for what she had done.
I feel really sad, scared. I feel abandoned. And I don't know what to do, you see. I feel like crying, and I cry and cry in the cell. I just don't know what to do.
Through interviews with prisoners, Crimewatch drives home the key message that crime never pays.
That I never imagined before. It was the most terrible experience for me and for all of us.
Hello, sir. It's on the way.
On the 16th of April, CNB officers spotted Jeffrey leaving his house with his luggage. They alerted other officers who were waiting at the airport.
Syndicates, too, could not escape the law.
Jeffrey, we are from CNB. We got a few questions to ask you. Can you follow us? Handcuff him.
In April 1994, Tan Seng Kim was arrested and charged for attempting to export heroin.
His luggage was retrieved and 225 pellets were seized.
Viewers got to see how officers from the Central Narcotics Bureau tracked down the men who were involved with a large international drug trafficking syndicate. In the early days, police tackled violent crimes committed by secret societies. Slowly but surely, these were wiped out. But as seen in the later episodes of Crimewatch, the police had to tackle other forms of gang violence. In the late 1990s, we saw the emergence of girl gangs. Such bullying tactics, which were also reflective of the times, include the use of handphones equipped with video cameras. But again, it was through such portrayals that the police sought to drive home important public education messages, such as, once you cross the line, you can never escape the long arm of the law.
Our advice to the youngster is, do not think that joining such gang-like activities is cool. You will live to regret it.
Over the years, sex crimes, like murders, never went away. In recent times, Crimewatch has used the reenactment of such cases to reinforce key public education messages. In early 2008, women in the Bukit Timah and Bartley Road areas of Singapore were terrorized by a violent robber who later turned serial molester and rapist. The culprit was Bala Kupusami.
Bala Kupusami, we are from the police. You're under arrest for robbery before.
Don't move. What the hell? Just because I'm an ex-offender, you keep arresting me, is it? Huh? Hey, I'm innocent now.
Through the telling of the story, the public were reminded of the constant need to stay vigilant. A safety advisory for women was added at the end of the story. The widespread availability of the internet has also led to other forms of crime. And again, through Crimewatch, crime advisories were disseminated to all viewers.
Andy, want to see something? What?
After watching an illicit video clip on his friend's handphone, the 17-year-old became hooked on pornography. It wasn't long before the youth started acting out his fantasies, outraging the modesty of teenage girls. The law caught up with him when he was identified by means of CCTV recordings.
See a lot of rapid, quiet.
At the end of the story, Crimewatch advised where young people could turn to for help if addicted to pornography. In the early part of this millennium, the Internet Relay Chat, or IRC, became a popular tool for young people to interact. It was also exploited by sex predators. In a story featured in 2002, a young woman became acquainted with a man via the internet. The stranger then promised her a job with a multinational company.
What's your friend doing here?
She's here to accompany me.
Okay, the interview is going to take quite a while, so why not you make a move first and we'll call you.
When they finally met at an MRT station, the man took her to a motel. It was there that the young woman was raped.
Promise to give me a job.
The victim then lodged a report. The police investigated, and in a police ambush that ensued, the rapist was arrested. An advisory for young people to be careful when chatting on IRC was issued at the close of the story. As we spend more time in cyberspace, so too have criminals. A woman, unmarried, was misled into believing she had found romance in cyberspace. About a year after Mary had contacted James, who claimed to be an American diplomat based in London, he started badgering her for money.
And I told him my girlfriend is in Singapore.
Blinded by love, she acceded to the requests of her boyfriend, whom she had never met. When she failed to receive the money, which her long-distance boyfriend had promised, and when he started asking for more funds, it began to dawn on Mary that she could be embroiled in a scam.
I'm not going to pay any more money to the bank.
As advised by a close friend, Mary lodged a report with the police. Upon investigating, the police found that Mary's boyfriend was located in Nigeria, not London, as she was led to believe. Mary lost more than $200,000 from the ordeal.
We would like to advise internet users to adopt the
Through this reenactment, the police hope to raise awareness on the common ploys of cyber scammers and show viewers how they can protect themselves and their properties.
position or give out personal details about yourself.
He then conned the woman into parting
And
with
of course, as shown on Crimewatch, people never seem to cease being exposed to all kinds of scams. From magic stones,
哇，安迪，你今天有没有头痛？
有啊，我整身不舒服，而且头痛啊。
magic paper, house blessings for good luck, and phone scams. And following the rise of global terrorism, Singapore too wasn't spared from hoaxes. In an episode aired in 2008, a case showed how a series of bomb hoaxes emailed to various embassies and airlines around the world could cause undue alarm. The FBI investigated, eventually tracing the source to Singapore.
The IP address is registered to PacNet Internet Singapore Limited.
It came from Singapore.
The CID was alerted. Officers from the Technology Crime Forensic Branch sprung into action. The case was an example of international networking among law enforcement agencies around the world. It was also testament that officers from the Singapore Police Force are able and quick to respond to international crimes.
As criminals become sophisticated, the police are never left behind, evolving in method, resolve, and technique to stay ahead, and engaging the viewers on matters of crime prevention has been part of the wider strategy in fighting crimes. When we return, we will look at innovative developments in police investigation as seen on Crimewatch. The police are mindful of the need to stay ahead in the game of crime fighting. Crimewatch features not only cutting-edge technologies and methods, it also shows time-tested values of officers as they show determination, eye for details, perseverance and wit in solving complex cases.
29-year-old Annie Leong was stabbed and brutally murdered outside her home. The details of the case attracted considerable attention of the public and the media. There were no witnesses. What the police had were testimonies from the victim's estranged husband, Anthony Le, and his young friends.
Let's talk about guts. $1 million.
100,000.
And very importantly, crucial evidence which was sent for forensic analysis.
Put the gloves, the knives, and all the stuff into this bag after you kill her.
We examine every single bags from the box and to see whether they are related to one another in a single box. So it also helps us to arrive in a conclusion that the bags from the boy's house is actually from a box from Anthony's house.
That was another very important piece of evidence. It was able to prove against Anthony Le, or in showing that the boy was telling us the truth.
In order to determine who really killed Annie Leong, the police conducted intense interviews and forensic analysis. It was later proven that Anthony Le had indeed hired a boy to kill his wife. Another case where forensics was applied to determine the killer of a young child was featured in an episode from the year 2006. Constance Chi, a former air stewardess, had an intimate relationship with Neo, a married rag and bone man. But it was a relationship that was never meant to be. And when the rag and bone man ended the affair, Constance took it out on his 4-year-old daughter, who later died in hospital.
The accused, Constance Chi, claimed that Cindy Neo fell accidentally over the railing. Since there were no eyewitnesses, we had to conduct experiments to verify the statement of Constance Chi. We were able to achieve the same distance that Cindy Neo reached, 3.43 meters, with a strong throw from the 6th story, or with a throw somewhere between light to strong from the 10th story. The key finding was that Cindy Neo did not simply tip over the railing. She could not have accidentally fallen to her death on her own accord.
With no eyewitness, the investigation officers and scientists from the Health Science Authority carried out an experiment at the site of Cindy's fall. The purpose was to scientifically reconstruct and simulate the tragic event. The cause of death was substantiated through forensic science. In the absence of reliable eyewitnesses, investigation officers would work with scientists to come up with scientific methods to establish the events of a crime.
It's all your husband's fault.
Another landmark case, the case of the one-eyed dragon. Again, we watched how forensic science was pivotal in nailing the cold-blooded murderer.
There are a total of 6 shots. 5 hit him. And the last...
I think one of the shots hit the chair.
This This is a .22 caliber rim-fired cartridge casing. It is likely that your suspect firearm is a .22 caliber pistol.
And in this case, the culprit was arrested with the help of the Royal Malaysian Police.
Get up! Get up! Get up! Police! Get up!
To convict a suspect of a capital crime, the charges must be backed by hard scientific evidence.
Why did you shoot him?
It was in self-defense. I tried to settle with him quietly. He grabbed a chair and attacked me. I had no choice but to shoot him for maybe 5 times.
Because if it had been one of the initial shots,
The police had to find out whether Tan Cho Jin had acted in self-defense as claimed.
and we should expect to see
This involved scientific investigation, where the police partnered with forensic experts to solve the case.
Yes. Most likely, the assailant stood very near to Lim Hock Soon and fired a very close-range shot to his right cheek. Based on our distance of firing testings, that shot was estimated to be less than 10 cm, the muzzle of the firearm to the right cheek. And the firer again fired another shot at him, but this shot missed him. Instead, it ricocheted on the chair and onto the floor. And when we did our trace evidence analysis, we found gunshot residues on the damaged part of the chair and also on the floor. The 2 shots at the thigh and the shoulder were fired at further distances of 100 to 150 cm. The shot at his elbow was fired at about 10 to 25 centimeters away from him. The different distances of firing, different locations of gunshot residues and cartridge casings indicated that the firer and Lim Hock Soon were moving around in the room. Subsequently, there was a shot that was fired near the doorway at Lim Hock Soon's right temple, and again it was a very close range shot, which was about 10 to 25 cm, muzzle to target distance.
See this laceration behind the left ear? It indicates to me that the left side of the head must have been pressed against a hard surface like the floor when the gun to the right temple was fired.
Sir, this being the case, the deceased was defenseless when the shot was delivered on him.
Yes, he was.
So the issue of self-defense would not come into play in this instance?
No.
Evidence uncovered by forensics effectively disproved claims of self-defense by the accused. Tan Cho Jin was sentenced to death for the unlawful discharge of firearms under the Armed Offences Act.
The stories you see on Crimewatch are based on real cases. The investigation officers in the reenactments are actual police personnel acting as themselves.
Over 25 years, Crimewatch has seen various presenters fronting it. And 2 have since become established faces on our local television. Michelle Chong on News and Stephen Chia on AM Live.
Even though I was only 20 years old, but I was made to look like at least in my 30s because I had to look professional. And I think that's why till today people think that I'm much older than my age, but actually I'm not that old. So it was quite fun. Because it was one of my first few experiences in the studio, so I learned a lot. And I think I would consider that one of my first impersonations actually, because I was impersonating a newscaster.
I guess looking back, I mean, hosting Crimewatch was sort of a starting point for me because I ended up starting a career where I am in front of the camera in that sense. So I think, yes, hosting Crimewatch and hosting the show I'm doing now, AM Live, they're very different because they're very, very different kind of content. The show AM Live is live, so it's not pre-recorded. So a lot of things happen spontaneously. Crimewatch was all recorded. We had a chance to stop the take, to do it again, you know, whereas with a live show, you can't do that. But I think it started off well because it was a good starting ground for me where I learned how things work.
Today, the presenters are police officers, articulate with a penchant for making TV presentation. Who knows, they could be future stars on TV. Since 2001, Crimewatch has been featured in 4 languages and shown on these channels.
The criminal may tell his victim that her family member had been kidnapped and demand a ransom.
Channel 8 in Mandarin,
歹徒可能告诉受害人
Surya in Malay, and Vasantham in Tamil. And not only are the presenters real police officers, investigators profiled in the show are also the officers who handle the cases. And whilst this adds a whole lot of credibility to what is filmed and put on television, to these police officers, acting is sometimes probably a whole lot more challenging than solving a crime.
Police received an anonymous phone call from a man saying that he had found the body of a dead woman on the second level of this JTC factory.
All teams get ready. In 30 seconds, commander detachments will take over.
The storming operation that turned into a hostage situation. Using the hostages as human shields, the gunmen prevented the police from shooting at them. They then began moving from Yongxiak Street to Gimpang Road. Seeing the handcuffs on the hostages, the bus driver mistook the gunmen for police and stopped for them. But when he realized they were fugitives, he panicked. At that precise moment, Inspector Stephen Koh found a clear shot at Yong. The gunman was instantly demobilized. Lim had no choice but to surrender. Expecting to find armed robbers holding hostages, the kampong house was raided. Rather than face capture, Sek made a desperate attempt to kill himself.
The raid was conducted by the Malaysian police as it was in their territory. The arrested was Ong Leng Chai. He was alone in the house.
Hello, police. There's a fight near Block 93.
However, all police divisions have been alerted by the CID to look out for them. And within 2 weeks of the murder, all 3 suspects were nabbed.
Io Yip and his team then rounded up the rest of Ridwan's accomplices. It was around 4 p.m. on Saturday, 4th of March 2006. Muhammad Ali bin Johari, stepfather of missing 2-year-old Nonoy, had just brought CID officers to the Al Junid flyover. DSP Ang Bi Chin and her team from the Criminal Investigations Department were soon at the scene. To preserve the crime scene, the officers had to put on microfiber suits. By the time the police arrived, only Pong Tak was left at the scene of crime. Police swiftly rounded up all the suspects within 48 hours of the incident. Since its successful launch in 1986, Crimewatch has been gracing our TV screens for 25 years.
I'd like to say congratulations to the folks that have been making Crimewatch happen all these years. It really is a testament to the hard work that has been done. I know a lot of work happens behind the scenes, and the part where we get to host is actually the easier part.
Crimewatch, you were there at the beginning of my career, and more than 10 years have passed and you're still around, and I hear that you're still the highest rated show on Channel 5. I'm so proud of you, and thanks for being there at the beginning, and I hope you will be in this line as long as I will be in this line. So yeah, cheers! Happy 25th birthday, Crimewatch. I love you guys.
We've come to the end of the 25th anniversary special of Crimewatch. We hope that you've enjoyed it as much as we've had bringing it to you. For another exciting season of Crimewatch, remember to catch the first episode on the 25th of March 2012. This is Tay Ping Hui, signing off.